Circus, two-time defending champs, have fought their way back out of the loser's bracket, and they will be trying to three-peat against Flashback here, who was gone clean. And Brian Koronkowski leads off, grounds back to Moji, and that might have left a mark there as Moji's rubbing his right breast area. Moji's been in the shooting gallery today. Moneyline hit a few balls at him. And that brings up KD, Kevin Duff. So, of course, Circus will have to win twice in order to win the championship. And that ball is flared out over the top of our head. So we'll take a little time here for those new to this. It's Chicago 16-inch style softball. 60-foot bases, you can lead off, but you can't steal. 38 feet from the pitching rubber to the point of home plate. 6-12 on the arc, open count. The pitcher, because we're playing no glove, gets a drag step, and that is one step right, left, or back. And two fakes or hesitation. Third arm action has to be to deliver the ball home. Fake or hesitation toward a base is considered one of your fakes or hesitation. 300-foot bases, or 300-foot fences, sorry. And if it goes, bounces over, through, and Joe Pish can't make it. So Kevin Duff, ball looked like it got deflected by Mike Marasovic. Took a little different path toward Joe Pish, couldn't make the play. So one out, one on here for Circus, and it brings up Brian Koronkowski's older brother, Timmy Koronkowski. And the brothers are having a good weekend. I think this might be the first Circus game I've done this weekend. So I'm excited to see him up close and personal. And Timmy tries to go big. Ryan Russ drifting toward the line. He'll make the catch. Kevin Duff, easy tag and advance into third base. So with the two outs here in the top of the first, Chris D'Agostino looks like he's got a man bun. And Chrissy going to try to put the first run on the board here. So again, Circus has won this the last 2 years. Chrissy Dags. So Circus trying to work that left field line. Both lefties, Duff and now D'Agostino, go the other way on their first attempted swings of their at-bats. Mike Manzella giving Chrissy Dags a little hair care there, squeezing the bun. On deck, it looks like it's going to be Chad Hook. Chad originally played out quite a bit in Iowa. And he goes second time soft foul down the line. So Circus will need to win twice. Flash has been very good, very efficient. Circus got here by defeating Hex in what we call the get-back game. And I believe that was, I want to say, 16-10. So Moji tried to get him to bite on a fastball, and he wasn't buying it. And there's a swing and a ground ball. So Mike Marasovic, 2 plays that inning. He's up to the task. And they go hit 4, can't score. Sorry, folks, just fiddling around here. We thought we were going to give you a multicam shoot. We ended up getting some nasty feedback. Don't know what caused that. So last minute, we had to go traditional on you. And we're over here on third base due to the sun, trying to save a little glare on the picture. But it's been just beautiful weather out here, picturesque. Can see the flags there in the center of your picture toward the top. Wind blowing in from right field, pretty good. So Flash, very similar lineup to what we showed you already. Brian Kearns, Danny Dispenza, and Joe Piscitelli, first 3 scheduled hitters. Both of these teams are going to catch the ball, and they can both swing the bats. Flashback's only game of the day was on this field. They found a way to beat Moneyline 8-4, and they were down 4 runs in that game. And Kearns swings, and Brian Koronkowski makes the play. Now, a lot of you are used to seeing Brian out in left field, but this year Circus has decided to shift him from left to center. They picked up Brian Sherwin from Chicago Dynasty, along with Mike Galangi, who's out of town at a wedding. And Dispenza creases a ball toward the gap. Sherwin picks it up, and Dispenza, 1-out double to get things going. And, you know, we have that discussion all the time when you got kids like Brian and Little B, Brian Blackwell Jr., as to do you put them in left or do you put them in center? And when you have phenomenal athletes like that, as a manager, if I got a good solid left fielder and Piscitelli drops a hit, Dispenza takes the turn. He had to wait to see if it was going to drop. So Denny Lawler held him. And that was a good throw by the right fielder over there, Tony Valdez. He threw it right through the pitcher. Jack Nakanishi ran through the throw as if he was going to cut it. That kept Joe Piscitelli from being able to go to second. And runners on the corner, 1-out Mike Manzella. So Flash trying to jump up early in this ball game. And Jack Nakanishi is a very underrated player. He's won 2 no gloves out at Forest Park with 2 different teams. One with Circus and one with Chicago Dynasty. High fly ball. Fighting a lot of sun over there, makes the catch, and Dispenza slides underneath the tag. Very aggressive. Jason Rojas playing first base over there. I believe that's Jason. Normally we see Jason playing left field. He made the catch, but he drifted a little bit. Was a little off balance. He made a good throw, but good hard slide by Dispenza, and he sneaks in. 1-0 early here, bottom of the first. Flashback trying to win the Westchester TOC. And I spoke with Kevin Duff when he was with, I don't know if it was Signature or Windy City. And there's a little topper, Scotty Herdecki. I think Chad Hook might have had a play there. And runners on the corner here. Kevin Duff was like, Gio, do you remember? First time I won this tournament, we double dip Flash. So you know KD's got a good feeling about it. But this is not your father's flashback team. A lot of new faces from when they had the Russ brothers, Westermeyer, Ralphie Lawrence, Nicky Marchese. So a little different looking group these days. And Justin pounds the right field line. He walks the dog. That's going to score 2. Justin will stop. 2-run double by Smykowski as he walked that dog down the left field line. And you could see that ball hit that. We've been telling you all weekend about the slope for the drainage. Once that ball hit the ground, it just rolled a long way fast downhill. So a 2-run double from Smykowski. And Flashbacks jumped up to a 3-0 lead here in the bottom of the first. So after about a 2+ hour break, Vito tries to go deep. Sherwin is there, makes the catch. And you can see Richie Arico. We told you during the money line game that late in the tournament, when you come through the losers bracket, they'll put an extra guy out there so that their left and right fielders don't have to chase the ball when it's fouled, trying to save a little energy. And it looked like Stevie Reyes was down on the right field line. So Flashback jumps up 3-0. And it's always an interesting dynamic when you have that weight. A lot of times you'll have a team that comes out a little flat for a couple innings, and the team coming out of the losers bracket will jump up. So we see a lot of if games, and then at that point, the team in the winner bracket usually is back into the swing, but Flashback's been at this a long time. They have a good routine, and their guys looked fired up that inning. So here's Chad Hook. Chad had Tommy John surgery about 15 months ago, and now has been cleared for activities back at shortstop. A lot of the circus guys almost look at it like he's a new pickup because last year he really couldn't play the field. And Chad grounds it to Stacy, and that's out number one. And it brings up Scotty Herdecki, who's spent a long time playing with Flashback, and now he's on circus. Scotty was a big part of Flashback's success when I was there. As a member of the three-peat team we had at the No Glove. He's also a long-time hype guy back in the day. So Circus here in a 3-0 hole. And Scotty Herdecki, a little knuckleball toward the gap. Ryan Russ gets on it and he'll throw it in. 1 out single. And right now the Flashback crew seems like they're pretty loose early with the 3-0 lead here. And the Flashback bench looks a little, or the Circus bench, they look a little tight over there. So here's Tony Valdez. Tony spent a couple of years with the 45s, and then he spent a year or two playing locally with the Crush team. And he decided he wanted to come, and there's a high fly ball. Ryan Russ, no tag. And that'll be 2 outs. And here's Jason Rojas. You know, when they picked Jason up, Jason played for Impact for quite a while. And when they picked him up, they thought he would just be primarily a sub. But he's kind of played himself into a lot more playing time. Came over, I believe, I want to say last year. And there's a ground ball, and that's going to sneak through. Justin Smykowski, very aggressive. He was only about 10 feet out of the dirt, got to it quick, and that prevented Scotty Herdecki from going to third, even though there were 2 outs. So that brings up Brian Sherwin, the left fielder, with the pitcher, Jack Nakanishi, on deck. And Brian grounds it foul. And that was close. The ball did hit in fair territory twice. But by the time it got to the base and got past it, it was traveling over foul territory. And Sherwin tries to go down that line again. And we've seen Brian throughout his career, when he was with Chicago Dynasty, get some big hits. And a lot of time they were that very hard, line drive down the line. And once it would get past the left fielder, he'd turn it into a home run. So it looked like he was trying to do that there. Didn't quite barrel it up. So it was a surprising weekend. Moneyline finished third, and there's a little flare. Smykowski can't get it. 1 run scores. Throw to second. Safe under the tag, and the second run scores. That was a bang-bang play there. Great throw to put it right on the short center. Myers had a turn to make the tag. And by the time he made the tag, Sherwin was sliding hard. So Mike Myers, and again, it's hard to say. I mean, you can take a look at it, but he always got 2 feet, and I don't know if it was an actual, Mike Myers was looking at his left hand, and you know, as a right-handed hitter, which Mike is, that left hand's very important because that's the lower hand when you swing through. So I think they're just taking a little extra time here to slow the game down. Mike looks like he's okay. It's going to be very difficult. So that was bang bang there. 3-2. And I don't know what they're doing here. He is coming out of the game. So Brian Kearns will go to right field. Justin Smykowski will come in to play second. And Danny Dispenza's going to go in. Now, Myers is not out of the game. Kearns was extra hitting. So they're just changing the pieces on the chessboard. But I think what Mike is going to look at, I don't see any blood, but I think he's wondering if he maybe did a little more damage to it. So he's really looking at it. And that's going to bring up and there's a little ground ball. Sherwin avoids it, and it was just enough to distract and then keep Joe Pish from being able to really take a look at it. So they're going to re-enter. Chavez hit there for Nakanishi, and it brings up Brian Korenkowski now. First and third, 2 outs. Circus has chopped that 3-run lead down to 2. And Brian goes down the other line, and he drops it in fair. So one Brian dropped it in front of the other, and we got a tie game. So Brian Korenkowski, just a little flip shot the other way, and that's a good example. We got the wind blowing in, and Brian Kearns looked like originally he was going to get to it, but the wind just knocked it down, and here's Kevin Duff. So we got a new ball game tied at 3. Big blow in this inning was Sherwin's hit and the bang-bang play at second. That could have been the 3rd out. And Duff off emoji, and the bases will be loaded. And it brings up Korenkowski. So Flash got the 2 outs in fine shape, but Circus banging away here with 2 outs.
Make a play.
As I'd like to say, you can rewind the tape there. Mike Myers looks like an ice pack on that hand. So here's Timmy. And Timmy is a difficult out. Timmy played a little bit on March way back in the day when he was a younger kid. And there's a little slap, and Ryan Ross picks it up off the top of the carpet. Ryan Ross. Spectacular catch down the left field line. We'll head to the bottom of the second, 2-2. We told you he's one of the best left fielders in the game. Says we head to the bottom of the second. Flash with 3 in the bottom of the first. Signature answered with 3. Or Circus, excuse me. Koronkowski robbed of a hit. And there's my guy Richie Arico wearing the spiffy white jerseys for Circus. And we got to keep an eye on Ryan Russ. I noticed in the money line game he made a hard throw and he grabbed his elbow, and right now before he got into the batter's box he kind of reached up there and rubbed it a little bit. And again, because of the wind and what you have, a lot of these outfielders playing real deep, and it's the first time all season a lot of these guys have done extensive throwing. So we see a lot of guys come up with dead arms after these early tournaments. Again, this is the first championship game. Circus trying to three-peat here. They need to win twice in order to win the tournament. And Ryan Russ out to center, Brian Koronkowski. Again, Brian takes such good routes, and he's so quick that if you don't really beat him over the top, he's going to get on it. So here's Anthony Stacy. And Anthony tries to go. I tell you, everybody trying to work the left field line early in this game. Richie Arico kneeling down there. The ball went right to him. So Anthony Stacy on the reset. One out here, bottom of the second, all tied up. And Stacy to Chad Hook. Ball popped right up, and he throws him out. So here we go. That's going to bring up Steph McLaren. Takes that ball a little bit low. So that's a nice play. Chad showed you his elbow's in good shape. Talked to him a little bit this morning, and there's a sweeper in front of the right fielder out there. And the ball drops in for a single. So Tony Valdez couldn't get there. And, of course, in these outfields, you're always running uphill because of the drainage. So that's going to bring up John Zawoski. And there's a ground ball, foul. Oh, I take it back. That was in the air. So Flash can't score. We'll head to the top of the third inning. Tree in the third. So, good ball game. Might be settling down after that flurry of runs early. And good part of the lineup coming up here. Chrissy D'Agostino leading off, Chad Hook, and then Scotty Radecki. So they got 4, 5, 6 coming up in a tie ball game. And of course, there's no secrets. Most of these guys have been playing against each other for a long time, and even Chad Hook, who primarily played in Iowa most of his career, came over to Circus, a well-known player. And Dags tried to punch and go, and you saw Stacy didn't fool around. He got the big bounce belt high, caught and threw in one motion. Again, if you're a lefty and you want to do it, you need to either get a second bounce before it gets to the third baseman, or you want to run that ball along the carpet. That ball, one hop and popped right up to his belt buckle. And Chrissy Dags, terrific offensive player. He's a pretty good outfielder back in the day, but he's had some ankle injuries. He doesn't like to go out there. And Mike Marasovic, another ball. And they called him safe there. Moji was chasing that ball. And by the time he got it, the flip was high. And that was all it took for Chad Hook, the ageless one. Chad, like in his mid-40s, I think. And still runs pretty good. When you look at him, you'd think he was in his 30s. So that's going to bring up Scotty Herdecki. And there's my sometime. There's a little pop, long run, Ryan Russ, and he carried it out of play. And the rule is on an intentional carry, if the umpire thought he intentionally took it out of play, they would have given Chad third base. But that was a momentum thing. And so Chad would automatically, they called it a dead ball, he would have got second either way. And here's Tony Valdez. So Circus trying to reclaim the lead here. And Valdez hits a knuckleball out into left field, and Circus retakes the lead at 4-3. I got a feeling, folks, this game could go down to the wire. If that happens, of course, Flash has the hammer. You see my sometimes media partner, Jerry Brown, checking in. Here's Jason Rojas. Sorry if the voice is a little rough. It's been a long weekend. I'm not in tournament announcing. There's a sharp ball right off of Stacy. Valdez is grinding. And Dillman could hear him. Meanwhile, on the throw to third, Rojas hops into second. So now with 2 outs, brings up Brian Sherwin. Jack Nakanishi on deck. Now they hit for Jack already. So Jeff Hernandez may want to put a little pressure on Circus. And they may want to walk him and force, see Jeff Dillman coaching third. He ran over there to see what they wanted to do. Normally Joe Caputo is the backup pitcher or the starting pitcher. And I'm trying to see if Joe is over there. And, you know, as far as that goes, Joe very solid on the hill. And they do walk him. They're going to force the issue and make Circus have to make a decision. I want to say, I think that's Joey Caputo in the bench stretching. So they're going to let Jack hit. I got a feeling that Joey's got to be dinged up because Circus has no fear of putting him in a game. He's actually a pretty good pitcher. So I think that, I think that's a good move because Chavez is a pretty good hitter. So they're just playing the percentages. You can see Jack is going to take. He's just going to force Moji to pitch. And they might be. And there he goes to the gap. Ryan Russ gets there. Ryan Russ was playing him short and toward the line. Jack tried to pump it into the gap, got a little too much air under it. Cross breeze didn't help him either, as the ball just couldn't get to the gap. And Ryan Russ has made a couple of fantastic running, sliding catches. And Flashback wiggles off of a bases-loaded jam. They did give up one, but if you're a Flashback fan, it could have been a lot worse. So we head to the bottom of the third, 4-3. And it looks like Denny Lawler has grabbed the bat. I think Denny is taking this swing for Mike Myers. Trying to do the math here. June, he hitting for Mike? Oh, for Moji. Okay. So he is hitting for Moji. So Flashback uses the move, and they bring in Denny. Of course, Denny was a mainstay on the Jinx. And Denny turns and burns Valdez long run, and he tracks it down. Was a good idea, but again, that breeze coming in from right field not only knocked it down, but it's coming in from right, and it's a little bit like maybe from right center-ish. It's not dead right field. And Tony Valdez, a pretty good outfielder he got there. So here's Brian Kearns, top of the Flashback lineup. And Kearns sweeps it to Hook. He bobbles it, sidearm, not in time. Well, Chad's got to be feeling pretty good because he's already gassed one over there, and that time it was like a submarine throw with mustard on it. Not shaking that arm. Good to see. Hate to see any player really get injured. So here's Dispenza now. Good speed aboard. And Junior, I don't know who is moving slower, me or you. I threw myself in the cot. Junior went right or left, I went right. You're good. So here's Dispenza now on the reset. And now he creases one up the middle. Kearns flying to third. He'll make it. So Flashback first and third with one out for Joe Piscitelli. So the tying run at third base now here in the bottom of the third. Both teams trading jabs so far in this game. And Piscitelli drives it. Sherwin on his horse. Got turned around. Made the catch. One run went in. And now they're trying to say he left early. Monza said he was looking and left. Oscar didn't see it. And Circus trying to say that he left early. Joe Monza, he's asking for help, but Joe Monza was shaking his head, and he was pointing out to left field saying he was watching the play. And, you know, when there's a guy on first, just so you guys know positioning, when you know positioning, Joe Monzo, you're going to see now. See where Joe is going? there's no chance for him to see both the catch and the runner there. You just can't do it. And Oscar is also looking at the catch because the ball was in left field. And so as a result of that, even if a guy left a hair early, there's no way for an umpire to see it. It's just geometry. So to come and spend energy on that doesn't make any real sense. You know, it would be different if you had an umpire standing at first base where he could see the play in left field and he was looking with the base runner in front of him. That's one thing. But I think a lot of times on he left early, it's difficult. If a guy's at second, the ball gets hit to center field, the home plate umpire can see it, or even left to third. So Circus, we're all tied at 4. Dispenza at second with 2 outs, and here's Manzella, and he rips a hit. And they're going to send him. Sherwin's got a strong arm, but they caught it. Mike Manzella has been on fire, and he's been working the left side. And I got to tell you, that was a perfectly placed ball. Third baseman isn't going to get to that ball, and if you're a shortstop, if you get to the ball, you'd have to question his positioning before the play. So here's Gutierrez. This is the bottom of the third. It's 5-4, and both teams going at each other pretty good here. And Gutierrez, Brian Korenkowski, makes the catch, but Flash pushes a couple across. We'll go to the top of the 4th. 5-4 flashback. Flashback trying to break the streak here of 2 consecutive TOC championships. Whenever this gets done, 1 game or 2 will click off and George Bliss will have the post game. The MVP of the tournament is named after longtime park director Gary Cassanders, who passed away from cancer a couple of years ago. Gary's family is here watching it. They're in the front row on the first base side, checking the game out. And of course, we'll have pictures up. The MVP named after Gary Cassanders. And let's get this out of the way for the Westchester Park District. Jim, the maintenance staff, Leanne, thank you very much. Even though you guys did all of the physical maintenance stuff, you made our job running the tournament for you easy, and we appreciate that. So here's Brian Korenkowski, and Justin can't get to it. And Justin's a good athlete. Usually when we see him on the infield, he's playing short center. A little different look at it. And we'll see what happens. Mike Myers looks like he's still holding that ice pack. So here's KD, Kevin Duff. And he hits a fly ball. Dispenza goes back. He's got a good arm and rifles a one-hop throw right to the bag. We told you earlier that flashback is blessed. They got 3 guys now with Kearns, 4 guys that can go get it, and they all throw pretty well. Here's Timmy Korenkowski. And I think they'll be watching Justin because he's not used to positioning. Moji moved him to the hole, and he just slid to his right a step. And Korenkowski to Stacy, over to Vito, throw to first. Safe at second. Again, Timmy Korenkowski hit a ground ball to Stacy, and his brother, Brian, as fast as anybody in the game, beat the throw to second. That's speed, folks. Chris D'Agostino, though, could tie it up with a base hit, And he just got out, and Justin makes the catch. We talk all the time. It's the bottom of the fourth, Vargas. Of course, you can see the score, 5-4. So we talk all the time about how when you're a lefty and there's a guy on first, if you're fast, you don't want to slap the ball because people just take the fielder's choice. But that's a good example there with a guy like Brian Koronkowski at second. And if you're Chrissy Daggs and you want to maybe slap and run, it's okay to do it there because they got to throw it across the infield. So here's Smykowski. Got a big hit earlier in the game. Then it'll be Vito Iovino and Ryan Russ, and we'll see if they get down to Mike Meyer's slot, what they do at that point. And that may have been, a lot of times for Mike Milosevic, we see Shane Lawler, and there's a high pop-up, little flare, Sherwin is there, puts it away for out number one. So it brings up Vito. So they may have put Denny into the game to hit for Moji, and we'll see if they need to hit for Mike, what it is. And when it's your left hand, I wouldn't want to be on deck when Mike Myers takes his swings, because I got a story for that. Here's Vito, skies it out of play, and so I'll tell you a quick story. I played with the Bucketheads in 2005. We go to the clincher tournament out in Marshalltown. Sal Milazzo broke a finger and a ball hit back to him. And he comes up to bat a few innings later, and he can't grip the bat. And we only had 10 guys, so he had to take the swing. And Tauncy Sarasevich was managing that group. Here's Vito, and Vito stays hot. He slashes ahead, and now Vito was admiring his handiwork, barely running down the line. Koronkowski saw it and damn near threw him out at first. So Sal was just trying to push something to the right side because his lower grip hand, he couldn't grip the bat. So Tauncy says to him, swing the bat. And Vince Croston was on deck. I don't know if you guys remember Vince, great player. Here's Ryan Russ. We'll finish up here after this pitch. And so Sal takes a hard swing, like he's trying to launch. The bat came out of his hand and looked like helicopter blades, hit Vince right in the forehead. Vince had to go to the hospital and get stitches. And to add insult to injury, I had a pair of long sleeves that I had taken off, and they used that to staunch the blood. So here's Ryan Russ. That same year, Angelo Alicia was leading off for the Bucketheads. And here's Ryan. And Ryan drives it toward right center, but Tony Valdez makes the catch. Very first at-bat of the tournament, first game we play in. That's back when everybody was still wearing metal. Angelo wanted to set an example. He was at first base, and there was a play at second for the fielder's choice. So here's Stacy. And he hits a rocket, but Herdecki makes the catch. So Flash got a base runner, can't score. So Angelo, running down to second, decides, I'm going to slide in there hard and break up the double play. Well, what happened is He did kind of take the legs out of the short center, but the short center's metal spike dragged along his shin bone. And Angelo had to get something crazy, like 18 internal and 20 external. So he was gone. So that was a bloody weekend for the Buckethead team. So leading off here, back to softball, sorry folks, Chad Hicks, Scotty Herdecki, and Tony Valdez. And here's one of my favorite guys coaching third. Used to be with the Rats, a little bit with Smackout. I'll say one thing about Circus. They got some good people making decisions over there. Chad Hook hit that ball foul. Well, Gene, you're right. Last year at the No Glove, Friday and Saturday and all day Sunday, he was a human highlight reel, and he was hitting his tail off. And even though I thought Iggy and Moji certainly deserving MVPs, I thought Ryan Rush should have been in consideration for that. But chicks dig the long ball, so a lot of times they focus too much on offensive statistics. And that's why at the end of the year, as a part of the summer series, we're going to have the first ever Simkowski can't make the play. We're going to have first ever defensive teams. So we're going to recognize the defensive players in this game and give them their cred. We'll also have regular all-summer series teams. MVP, batting champ, RBI. It's going to be a lot of fun as we go through the season. So here's Hordecki. Hit a line drive toward left center for a base hit. His first time up. And there's a little ground ball, Piscitelli to Vito, and they spin the double play. Well, Joe, you know what? There were probably 4 guys that stood out last year at the No Glove. Kern's definitely one of them. Started the tournament hitting at the bottom of the lineup and was leading off by the end. You had Ryan Russ, who was fantastic, and Mike Myers, who got hurt earlier in the game, was terrific the entire weekend, too. Iggy and Moji, of course, were fantastic. So usually to win that tournament, you're going to have 4 or 5 guys, and it's going to be a tough decision. So here's Valdez now, 2 outs, nobody on. And again, Oscar's strike zone behind the plate is not as tight as Joe's, and I don't mean that like it's not a good strike zone. And there's Vito. I tell you, he's got a cannon. He caught that ball, and we told you against the 45s, the kid's like a rubber band. He was backtracking and off his back foot threw a strike with a little giddy up on it to first. That was a lot tougher and a lot better play than people might have thought. So it looks like Steph McLaren has grabbed the bat, and he's going to swing for Mike Myers. And then it's going to be John Zawoski, and we'll be back to Moji's slot. And in a 5-4 game, I don't think they would hit for Moji in the bottom of the 5th. He'd be out of the game. And he's been swinging for Moji. Steph has. I think what they're thinking here is they hit Denny because Steph can play the outfield, and they've been playing him at second base. So I think they're thinking if they needed a guy to go into the field, they don't want to burn Steph McLaren for a pitcher. And there's a little opposite way and there's Brian Koronkowski, but Sherwin called it all the way, and Brian decided to let him play. And that's the thing, kids. That's why if you're a younger manager, you always got to think, don't think about the moment. You've got to think about what's going to happen down the road. And that's a perfect example where you got to change what you do. Herdecki, Scotty used to be an outfielder. He's got a gun too. But you can pretty much say that about most guys playing the infield at the major level. So Moji will take the swing. So it's breezy and cooling off here. And a lot of the people who were walking around all weekend were commenting on how beautiful the weather was. It's really the nicest weather weekend we've had here since we came out of the winter. And talking with the Sanders family, I think Anthony Tyler said to Gary's wife, "Did you order this weather?" And she said, "No, Gary did." Moji, Chad Hook, a little spin, and Moji, he was trying, he was working, just couldn't get there. So I'm going to click off, folks. I'm going to grab a little water, try to smooth out some edges for you. So we're back, folks. I would have been back sooner, but I couldn't get the damn water bottle open. I had to ask Jibs to come over and open it. Forgot to buy a flip-top bottle today. So it's going to be Jason Rojas, Brian Sherwin, and then Jack Nakanishi. And again, I keep trying to look over there to see if Joey Caputo's over there getting loose or not. A couple of years ago, Joey Caputo had and there's a little fly ball, Danny Dispenza makes the play. A couple of years ago, about a month before the no glove, Joey Caputo suffered a sports hernia, and the only way to fix those is surgery. He tried to go, he pitched several games, and couldn't do it. In the last couple of games of the tournament, Jack came in and pitched magnificent as they double-dipped the 45s. And Sherwin tries to go the other way, and he drops it in. Big wide turn, he goes back. So Brian Sherwin just poked it out into the outfield. So they are hitting for Jack Nakanishi with Chavez here. And if I'm not mistaken, he'll be out of the ball game now. And there's a little ground ball rolled past me. I'll be right with you, folks. Just got to take care of something here. As I lost my comment screen. So Chavez, sky high pop up, and they're going to let it go because he had 2 strikes. And will not allow Sherwin to go to second. So they're at the top of their lineup now. Brian Koronkowski and Kevin Duff, the 2 hitters. Again, Brian, exceptionally fast. He's not a guy you normally think about turning a double play with. So again, as an infielder, you need to know what you're doing with the ball. And there's a strike. And this is a good example of what we talked about. If Brian wanted to slap and run, but very aggressive secondary. He hits it right at Vito, and Brian really didn't run. He got twisted up in the box. And that'll be the 3rd out. We're going to head to the bottom of the 5th. Flashback, they got 6th up on the board, so we're heading to the bottom of the 6th. Flashback clinging to a 1-run lead. So if that's right, the 6th inning, you might want to try to get a little insurance, as Circus will have 2, 3, 4 coming up in the 6th inning. So the first couple of innings, there was a lot of action. Now the offense is slowing down, and Joe Caputo is in the ballgame. And right now, Flashback's got the top of their lineup up. It's a good position for them to be in terms of trying to get a little insurance. So Brian Kearns, good speed, trying to get on. Flashback looking for a little insurance here in the bottom of the 6, 6-5-4, bottom 6. And Kearns right at Koronkowski. And Timmy's got some strong hands, and he's also got big hands. So that line drive was like taking low-hanging fruit. So here's Danny Dispenza, and he rakes it, and it gets under Rojas. I believe Sean Burke is here. Sean plays a lot of first base for them, but they went with Rojas in this game. And Jason didn't stay down. That ball slipped through, so 1 out base runner for Joe Piscitelli. And Joe tries to sweep a ball down the right field line. 2 fans over there not paying attention. Ball hit the screen. Neither one of them reacted. Usually when that happens, you see somebody kind of jump or they get startled. Not those fans. So Flashback, 3 defensive outs away from breaking Signature's hold on the title out here. And Joe Pish deep in the box. And he slashes one. Hook, great play. Chad Hook made a great play just to snag the ball. Tried to backhand it to Duff. Pulled Duff away from the bag. And Duff is laughing. He's like, good play, but and Dispenza very fast. Duff had no chance to get back to the base for the force out. And that brings up Mike Manzella, who's been pounding the ball this entire weekend. Good speed aboard. Flash trying to push out here. And we've seen that a lot of games this weekend, that bottom of the 7th has been It's been very difficult. So Joey Caputo, and he slashes a hit. Dispenza got a bad stop. He won't be able to score, but Manzella stays hot. Valdez came in, pulled up last minute, and the bases are loaded with one out. And here's Julian Gutierrez. So at this point, Julian's been going down this left field line, but you got to be careful. You don't want to hit a line drive right at a fielder and get somebody doubled off. Right now, what you'd like to see is Julian get a good pitch and try to elevate and drive something. And he taps it. Ground ball, Duff over to Koronkowski, safe at first. Julian mishit the ball. It looked like he was trying to drive the right center field gap. That was the bad news. He mishit the ball. The good news is he mishit it so badly, the ball didn't have any pace. But they do get the fielder's choice. They pick up a run. Smykowski trying to drive in number 7 over here. And the thing with Justin is it's all about patience with him. When he picks out a good pitch, he's devastating. And there he hits it hard up the middle. KD, throw it away. You don't see it often. 2 runs are going to score. And Julian Gutierrez and now Smykowski will go to second. So they double up 8-4, same score that they beat Moneyline by. The 9th run is out at second, and you don't see that often. Kevin Duff has been one of the better defensive second basemen for a long time. He got to the ball in good shape. Justin, a lefty who can run, and that speed reputation there, I think Kevin maybe rushed it a little bit too much. He threw it away. So Vito now trying to really push this out. And Vito goes hard, but right at Koronkowski. So do or die, top of the 7th. Circus wants to win their 3rd consecutive TOC. They need 4 to keep the game going. 5 would give them a lead. Anything less than 4, and we'll have a new champion for the first time in a while out here. And Flash they've been pretty good all weekend. And I think to a certain extent, Circus played their first game of the day, I believe, on this diamond. And then the rest of their games, I want to say, were on the B field where the wind was kind of blowing out. And now you come here and you've got the wind blowing in. It's a similar thing that we saw It's a similar thing to what we saw out in Joliet last year when High Y was on the same diamond the whole tournament. And KD dumps a base hit. He'll take the turn. Easy stand-up double. Brings up Timmy Koronkowski. And we are live from the Westchester Tournament of Champions in conjunction with the SSA. Circus trying to mount a comeback here in the 7th. And Timmy Koronkowski delivers a hit. KD will jog in 8-5. Again, this is a good part of the lineup. We told you for Circus. Still nobody out here. brings up Chris D'Agostino. And these are the kind of gut punches, if you let a lead slip away, that haunt you. Stacy, again, he got out a little over his skis, and I think Joe Pish lost sight of the ball. Again, a lot of times if you're a third baseman or a first baseman, you got to be careful how far off the bag you come. And it looked like Joe Pish was set up. And I think that Joe Pish might have had a shot at getting well, it would have been a tough play. Chrissy Daggs can run, so and there's a high fly ball by Hook. And Ryan Russ called timeout because the ball got drifted out of play there.
Yeah, I know. And the boy Rhino!
So Gibbs now understands that Timmy and Daggs don't mean anything. He wants the throws from the outfield to go to second to keep the tying run from getting to second base. So Circus isn't giving up the ghost, and there's a bomb. Ryan Russ is there, and they're going to throw it into second. Another run scores, makes it 8-6.
Not on Sundays.
So Bobby Russ giving his kid a little grief, saying we were talking about on a base hit throw to second, not on a fly ball. But either way, Chrissy Daggs, a meaningless run in the context that if he scores and you get the third out, you still win the game. Tony Valdez already has a hit. And he goes hard, foul down the line. See Joey Agardo recovering from a quad injury out there. Will Russ was going out there, so they're splitting up the duties. I don't see flashback with a guy down the right field line. So here's Tony Valdez now, 2 outs. Circus, 2 strikes down to their last strike. And there's a high fly ball. That should do it. Brian Kern squeezes, and flashback breaks Circus's 2-year hold on the tournament. They win the 2024 Westchester Tournament of Champions. They become the first team to win a SSA Chicago Summer Series event, and they did it with good defense, timely hitting, and very aggressive base running. So we're going to be clicking off here as we'll get George Bliss out here, and George Bliss will be handling the, oh, he's actually on. So check out the stream with Bliss. On behalf of the SSA, this is Gio signing off. We hope you enjoyed the coverage.